Saturday, I was fishing a 25-foot shooting head with a 12-foot sink tip, and casting was a pain in the caboose, river right, left-handed, single spey. So I switched it up, and instead of using my normal incline rod tip path for the sweep, I started using a climbing curve. Just keep in mind, when you start your sweep and you pluck that fly off the water, you draw a straight, perfect line in an incline rod tip path, or a straight line that doesn't go lateral in a climbing curve. And that can be helpful. Right when the fly is getting ready to come off the water is when I kind of like to push with the bottom hand. And you can push and draw that straight line from the fly to your rod tip in an incline rod tip path right there. Or when you sweep in a climbing curve, sometimes that will help set the anchor. So I sweep like this or like this in that nice climbing curve, but it's not until after I sweep that I adjust the firing position. So the rod's canted to the side, goes up in the climbing curve, and then we circle around for the forward cast. And it doesn't have to be much. But the idea is climbing curve doesn't always necessarily mean that we're climbing curving into the firing position. It's just for the sweep. For me, like if I'm really struggling and think something isn't right, I'll maybe try do a climbing curve, set that anchor, and then drift into firing position and fire. Everything's got to stay tight, and that anchor's got to be clean enough coming out of the water that you just pluck it out, and you make that rod do the work by pushing with your bottom hand right there and rotating our body, so left, okay, does that make sense? Climbing curve. But the climbing curve doesn't curve around my head. It's still in a straight line to the fly. Remember though, the climbing curve is a sweep move. So if we are casting at a target that's at 12 o'clock, we don't do our climbing curve back to 6 o'clock. We sweep to the 4 o'clock or 4:30 position and kind of throw that line back out to the side and back, not directly behind us. That is critical. But you can do it the other way. This is just something to play with if you're struggling. See how that helped me keep my V-loop from doing stupid stuff? See, that's really helping me. It's helping you set your anchor, dork. Making that rod tip climb up at the end of the sweep, okay? So I can lift, dip, up. And those are some of my better casts. Remember, as long as that fly is attached to the water, you can lift high, you can dip, and then come back up. As long as everything stays tight and there's no slack at all, right there is where the climbing curve or the incline rod tip path starts. Rod tip has to go up once it passes your shoulder. But I'm just doing a climbing curve, left, down, up. If I do go in and up and down and back, when I sweep back to here, hopefully the line will be straightened out so we're not getting a super funky
D-loop because, and we don't accelerate to the very end. Okay, so